Lunch Money Lambert, Jeff Malott. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Yeah. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation, where we talk about fishing and competition. It's your boy Ox Pippin, aka Ox Fishing. Don't come over here tripping. Hey, hope you enjoy the show. Jeff Malott, Lunch Money Lambert, Lego. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to KBN Live on this fine Monday evening. How you doing tonight, Ryan? You back home?
Good. Back home, son. Back home where I should be.
It's good to have you back. That was
still.
We made it work last week, but it was
Sorry about
tough.
that.
It was tough.
I tried all I could, man. I tried for the audible there. We just couldn't. I couldn't find any signal in Alabama, I don't think.
Sure, yeah. It was good while it lasted, though. It was good. And Jordan, appreciate Jordan Marshall sliding in to help out. My man.
Always clutch. The iron mullet always comes through.
Always clutch. Said he ran across the yard, lost a shoe going over there. And
I know. I was texting him. He's like, I can't get my computer to hook up. I was like, well, it's all right. Jeff will figure it out.
Yeah. And of course, Greg was a great guest, answered everybody's questions. It was a good time. Good show last week. So
nice.
We missed you.
I emailed the NFL to see if they can move Monday Night Football to like Tuesday or something, maybe. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if we hear back from that.
Yeah, if the starting quarterback gets hurt tonight, everybody will slide over here once again. So there we go.
Yeah.
Speaking of football, it was a rough weekend for the both of us, wasn't it, right?
Let's not even talk about it.
Yeah. I don't know who had it worse. Florida's not very good, and Tennessee went down there and took a beating, and then Arkansas got beat at home by a bunch of Mormons. So I don't know.
We haven't won in the swamp in like 20 years, so it's not like I didn't go into that with very high expectations. You saw what I said to Shane. I'm like, it doesn't matter what kind of year Tennessee's having when they, for some reason, when they go to the swamp, they fall apart. So yeah. I'm hoping we get some kind of redemption. I honestly think the Tennessee-Alabama game is going to be really good because we're both trash. So that should be a barn burner.
Yeah, Arkansas somehow doubled up BYU in yardage, but had 15 penalties and like 4 turnovers and couldn't make a 4th and half yard with a 250-pound quarterback. I could go on and on about how terrible the decisions were in that game, but hey, it is what it is.
Bring on basketball, baby. Bring on basketball. Let's go.
Go Buckeyes, go Buffaloes. That's where we're at now.
Oh, Buffaloes.
Yeah. But hey, we're here to talk fishing tonight. We've got couple of 3 really winners from the last several weeks that we kind of slid by without we had some other stuff lined up. We kind of went by these without getting them on and talking about it. But Ethan Jett won the Tennessee Bass Nation state championship, held off our boy Jordan Marshall.
Yep, barely, man. Marshall made a run. He tried to catch him.
Yeah, and then we're going to have the overall winner and the big bass winner from the native event up in Oregon. And I'll be honest, Ryan, I almost forgot.
I completely forgot about it. I thought Fork, we talked about it. I thought Fork was the last one. I mean, it is the last one. I didn't realize there was another one in between. Sorry.
And what we're going to have to talk about, man, is the Columbia River better than the Susky?
What?
23-inch smallmouth.
We're not going to talk about that, are we?
23-inch smallie.
Stop.
Took the win up there in the big bass, and then the overall limit was bigger than the Suskies from that river. So we'll talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
So the mighty Northwest.
Well, so we have to figure out where the Columbia River is first, and then we'll go there.
Yes, you keep going. You go out of Tennessee, and from your house, you go a little bit north, hang a left, and keep going northwest until you see it. That's it.
Oh man. Twitcher's out. He said he'll catch us on the audio. He's gone.
Yeah, we just appreciate you checking in. It helps the algorithm over there, I think.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
As always.
Real Nation Fishing and YouTube says first time on live. He's been bringing the podcast on his way to fishing spots for years. Recently got a native. He's loving it from Ontario, Canada. Hey, we love our Canadian
appreciate
brethren.
it, man. Thank you.
Yeah, Charles is giving you hell. He called you lunch meat Lambert. So
yeah, he's cute. I'm glad he doesn't kayak fish.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So we're gonna have Citha and Josh on from that event, from that Columbia River event, to talk about his Citha's overall win, and then Josh's giant 23. He finished fourth and caught big bass. So 23-inch giant smallie, man.
That's a good one. New River had some of those 23 swimming around, and it just didn't have any other fish to go with it.
Yeah, and I don't know what to do with the leaderboard, because apparently Dwayne changed how they. It's kind of cool how they show it. Instead of that long list of fish where you can't see the very end, it just shows the total for the no limit. But I can't see the individual fish picks, so I may be doing something wrong. I don't know.
Roast beef, Sisto. Roast beef every day.
Roast beef. That's the key to seeing the fish picks. I don't know.
Yeah. Yes. I feel like that's a different site. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Anyhow, it's going to be a good show. It's going to be fun tonight. If you guys saw on the intro, we're doing a giveaway tonight, and it is our Revo giveaway, Revo Sunglasses giveaway tonight.
All right.
So you guys know the
drill.
Steve-O
still has mine. I haven't had my Revos in 5 months or so. It's kind of painful.
So you need to be the Revo winner tonight.
Yeah. Can I put in for that, please? Thanks.
Yeah. I'll go log in real quick. It's not Ryan Lambert.
Like and share. Yeah.
We'll get that done for you. What kind of lunch? Yeah. Okay. I see the comments now.
Yeah.
I like going on. Frankly, I was at the beach and I don't know what went on, Ryan. I wasn't paying much attention. Is there anything we need to talk about that from the last week?
I don't think so. I think the page was dead without you on vacation. There wasn't anybody to stir the pot last week.
Yeah. I had no signal except for the condo Wi-Fi. So it was.
Did you end up going to Floribama down there over the
weekend? No, I can't get there. Your boys were in the they were in the dome, and I couldn't be in the dome. But I hung out at the yacht club quite a bit. They had some outdoor stuff going over there.
Yeah, I saw you slid in a little cornhole match.
Yeah, we got absolutely. So it was rental boards and bags, which whatever. Everybody had to use them, but it started raining, so they were covered in sand and wet.
Yes.
And regardless of that, we didn't just get knocked right away. It was single elimination, but we ran into these two old guys in the tournament before the championship, and they beat the crap out of us and ended up winning the whole thing. So hats off to them.
Let's put together a cornhole tournament. Let's pick an event that we're both going to for next season and put together a cornhole tournament.
Yeah, a legit cornhole tournament. I like that.
You bring your boards. I've got 2 sets. We'll have a little shindig.
A little throwdown. I like it. That'll be fun. But yeah, with that said, let's give the sponsors a shout out. I almost wore my Dugout hat tonight, but instead I matched you up with the Black Nation
Dude,
hat.
did you see the new hats they just came out with?
Yeah,
those are nasty. There's like an old school camo one. I need to get that for duck season for sure.
Yeah, so there you go. Slide over to dugoutfishing.com, pick you up some new hats or swag. And of course, they're the presenting sponsor of the show. They've got everything you need on site or on the website. If you can't find it on the website, get a hold of one of us. We'll get you in the right contact, or call them, talk to Steve-O, call the shop. They'll get you fixed up and ship it out.
Old Towns have been pretty popular down there, Jeff. I'll give you a little bit of credit. Yeah.
Which model? Is it the APs? The APs going out?
The APs are big, but just the PDLs too are doing well.
Okay. Are they on that EPDL World Tour that they're going around and trying them out at different places?
I haven't heard about that. I would like to see the thing in person just to see, what kind of speed it comes with.
Yeah, so they're ramping up a tour of the U.S. to let people demo them since they're not in production yet. Different shops, so I'm sure Dugout will probably be on the list at some point.
Did one show up in Texas? I thought I saw somebody post one popping up out there.
Yeah, I don't know where the first stop was. It could have very well been in Texas and started heading back northeast. So we'll see. Yeah. But yeah, with that said, man, Dugout, we appreciate them as a presenting sponsor. We got ProGuide Lithium, the official battery of the nation. Get you a reliable lithium battery. If you're going to spend that kind of money, get one that's legit and reliable.
And
Bangtail Whiskey.
What the differences are, go back and listen to that episode where we had the mad scientist on to break down the lithium batteries. That was a great one.
Yeah. Of course, the official drink is Bangtail Whiskey. I was sipping on whiskey down at the beach this last week, Ryan.
Yeah, were you, Jeff?
It was a good time. I figured out whiskey didn't hurt me as bad as drinking beer, so I'm a whiskey man, 100% now.
It probably wouldn't hurt me as bad if it weren't the quantity. I think that's where I go.
Yeah. That's where you gotta level it out.
Yeah, I'm gonna learn one day.
Yeah, doing the Revo giveaway. Of course, Revo is one of our giveaway partners. Z-Man, Seaguar, and Gil. We appreciate them. And with that said, what do we say we get Ethan in here? He's been patiently waiting.
Come on with it.
Get our stuff turned. See if I can remember how to push all these buttons. Here we go. All right, Ethan Jett, Tennessee Bass Nation State Champ. What's up, man?
What's up?
You look like you had a pen in your hand. You about to take some notes on us?
Yeah, I'm taking notes on how not to do a podcast.
You came to the right place.
We got some other links we can drop for you if you want to go check those out. How does it feel, Ethan? How's your life changed since becoming, if I'm not mistaken, you're the second Bass Nation champion, right? Marshall won it last year.
Yep. It's
he tried to double up, man. He tried to double up, and you had to dash his dreams.
Yeah, beat him by 1/4 of an inch.
That's crazy. That's close. It looked like Gunnersville was fishing really well from the numbers that people were.
We flip flopped in the native tournament. He won, and then I got second. Yep. And then 2 weeks later, I won, and he got second. So
that's fair. It balances out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Marshall would have rather won the Tennessee Bass Nation State Championship if I were putting money on it.
Yeah, he was really wanting to go after that AOI trophy and the Tennessee
Chris
State
Walters.
champ.
I forgot. Chris Walters won it the first year. Steve-O's got the facts, man. That's why it's important to be in the comments section to keep us straight.
Yeah, Steve-O said he's going to give you Revos and hat back to get your mojo back.
He's lying. He's been saying that for months, Jeff. I think he's keeping it on purpose. He's holding it for ransom.
Dang it, Steve. So Ethan, you've been doing damage in Tennessee for a minute now, and at some larger national events, to be honest. But for those that aren't familiar with it, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started kayak fishing, how long you've been doing it.
Well, I'm Ethan Jett. I live in Lewisburg, Tennessee, small town. I've been kayak fishing for about 5 to 6 years. Not long, really. I've been bass fishing for only 7 to 8 years. I've been fishing all my life, but I've only been like bluegill fishing, live bait fishing, just with my dad and my grandpa. And I've been very pleased with the results that I've gotten in the short years that I've fished. And I've always been a big advocate. I don't ever lose. I just learn. So
I like that.
That's smart. Yeah. That's smart.
Ryan,
what local club do you fish with in Tennessee?
Well, I fish with KBF10, Kayak Bass Fishing, Tennessee. We're not affiliated with Kayak Bass Fishing, just so I want to put that out there.
Appreciate that asterisk. Yeah, there.
Yeah, well, he knows his audience.
Yes, I know the audience, and I know.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I fish Tennessee Bass Nation. I fish Hobie BOS, and a few of the Bassmaster with Steve-O. So.
Are you fishing? Are you going to fish Rayburn coming up?
I'm going to try.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people posting load up pics heading down there now.
Yeah, I want to go to Susky too, so I'm trying to weigh which one.
I don't know how Rayburn's going to fish. We talked to Rolando. I was on a podcast with Rolando last week, and he was saying that they're drawing the lake down to do work on the dam, so it's really kind of got things mixed up, so to speak. Fish aren't where you think they would be this time of year down there, but Susky will not disappoint. I cannot wait. I finally got the old leg working now. I cannot wait to get to Susky. That's going to be
there. You go. I went to Susky for the first time last year and for the Hobie BOS in July, and it was, everybody I talked to said it was terrible. It was so low. I really want to go up there when it's fishing good.
I hope we've got some good water. Honestly, pre-fishing for that Hobie BOS, pre-fishing was killer that week. The problem was pre-fishing was killer for like 180 people that week. So I think that's why the tournament day suffered the way that it did.
I guess that was the other 20 then. I guess.
Yeah. Jeff Sherwood's in the comments. He's heading to Rayburn.
See him. We had a good time in Sherwood last time we were there.
Oh
with old boy.
That's when you hooked the dog.
That's right.
In the rear port.
In the butte. That's right.
Yeah, that was slick.
Yeah. Ryan, I'm listening to Ethan say, he's been bass fishing, what'd you say, 6 years? 8 years?
8 years bass fishing, 6 years kayak fishing.
So it seems like more and more people we have on here that are winning these tournaments don't have a deep history. And, they're fishing 2 years, 5 years, 6 years. What's up with that? Why do you think we're seeing that trend?
The fish don't know any different, Jeff. They don't know
That's
how
true.
long you've been fishing. They're just out there, man.
I tell you, the online resources nowadays, you can learn a lot from just watching, sitting down and doing your map studying and really devoting a lot of time to it.
So that's what I was going to
That's what
ask.
I've
Is that
done.
something that you rely on? Do you watch a lot of YouTube videos and stuff, that kind of
I
thing? Is that
do.
how you kind of key in on where at least a good starting point is?
I do kind of sometimes. I do a lot of map study. I sit down and I have an Excel sheet with every. I do every tournament I fish has a whole sheet of just boat ramps and stuff, and I sit there and look through it. And I'm an engineer at heart, so I love data,
Buddy,
and I
you can
sit
have
down
that.
and
I like the morning of, I try to find a ramp.
yeah.
I'm like, where are ramps for this for this lake,
mean-
which might speak to my success.
It's hard to stay on
So-
top of the mountain, right?
Dude, I
Yeah.
mean, whatever. I don't care. I want a blue trophy now. Like that's in my heart and soul. I hope I qualify for TOC to get out here and beat my face against the wall on Chickamauga, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
Oh no, Chickamauga in November. Ugh.
Dude, it's either going to be fantastic. It all depends
Yeah.
on the rains and if they open the floodgates at all. If they open the floodgates, it's going to suck all the grass out and
Yep.
probably suck all the fish out too. So how did you go into this Guntersville tournament? Obviously, you fish Guntersville quite a bit. You always come down to our local events. We have several joint events every season down on Guntersville. So I feel like it's a place you're fairly familiar with, but did you do anything different this tournament? Did you fish familiar water? How'd you go into this one?
So what I usually do, I try to pre-fish at least a couple of days on just new water, something I've never fished.
Mhm.
And I was pre-fishing for the native tournament, and that's how I stumbled upon the spot that I won second at. Me and my buddy from Mobile, Alabama, Garrett Wade, came up, and we were just fun fishing. And we were looking around, and we found this spot. We saw a bunch of big fish swimming up shallow, and we fished a little bit. And we got ran out because they found a dang dead body.
What? What?
Yeah. And
That's one way to lose
Yeah.
your spot.
Okay.
yeah, there were police flying around all over the place. We're like, what the heck's happening? And that's what we looked online, and that's what it was. And thank
Wow.
God we didn't see that. But I fished around that area, and it looked really good.
You could have helped them with the live
That's,
scope, maybe, perhaps.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't heard any news after that. They suspected foul play. It was wrapped up in black plastic.
That
Oh, wow.
sounds foul.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
So
but that's,
so that was that was the native spot you said?
yes. Yeah. I won second place at Native and Tennessee Bass Nation. First place there.
Oh, it's
It's a
at
good
the same spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
About 100-yard stretch.
Nice. Grass, I
Wow.
assume.
Yeah. Well, yes. In the Native tournament, it was real nice and green, and I was catching them crazy in there. In the Tennessee Bass Nation, I pulled up to just look around on Friday, and they went in there and killed all the grass. And I told them, I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to catch a single fish. And that was the best spot I found all practice. So I went back in and on the Saturday, and first fish I caught was 19 and a half. I'm like, well, they're still there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I got lucky on the Tennessee Bass Nation with the grass being dead, and they're still in there. But they would have
Was
had
it-
to gone. Do what?
Go ahead.
They would have had to gone like a mile just to get out of that area. So they wasn't going anywhere.
What they move to? Were they in the dead stalks of grass, or did they move to something else?
Yeah, they were just staying in the matted grass. That's what I was fishing. In the native tournament, I had to adjust a little bit. Native, I was fishing sparculated green grass, and they were setting up in it. And then Tennessee Bass, they were actually underneath the matted dead grass. And I caught them all on a frog. And then I switched to a popper on the outskirts of the grass, and that's how I got the rest of my limit and cold up.
Did you lose any? Do you have any heartbreaks fishing
Oh
a
my
frog
God.
all day? That's what I hate
Day
about frog
two.
fishing. Like I love the bite, but I feel like you're playing with fire on that deal.
Day 2, I tried to lose it. Absolutely tried. I lost, I probably lost 5 fish that was 19, 20 plus. And I hate fishing a frog too, because you get to see the fish.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, it's just terrible.
But you pulled it off. You got it together.
Yeah.
And you had a good limit on day one. Of course, there was that outlier on day one of what, 98 inches. That's always kind of mentally tough when you know what's in your area and you see somebody else, getting close.
Well,
to
I actually, I was fishing that area in the morning, and I was catching 16, 17-inch fish that weren't helping me. Mm-hmm. And I actually backed out of it. I said, I'm just going to leave it alone. And when I was leaving, I saw somebody make a beeline to the spot. And I was like, dang it, I shouldn't have left. But he only caught one other fish after I left. And I was kind of worried that they had already fished it all out. And I went to another spot. After about 10 o'clock, the bite died on day one. Absolutely died. And I went to another spot, tried to catch a fish, didn't catch anything, came out of it. On day one, I was trying to remember, I think I was in ninth. Or no, I was in third. Third.
It's a little bit difference.
Yeah. And I didn't know if I was going to catch them on day two, because a shallow water bite can vanish overnight in my experience anyway.
Gunners will usually, though, if you find an area with grass, they'll hold that. I mean, they'll hold on that grass. And they reload. The bite may die, but it's not like the fish left. Like, they're just tired of seeing your frog go over the top of them.
Yeah, and I think that's what happened, and that's the reason why I was losing so many fish on day two, is that it was kind of pressured, and they were trying to kill it. Like, I missed a lot of fish on the popper, and I think they were coming up and just hitting it out of the water trying to kill it and not actually eating it. And it got me frustrated. I was actually about 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I only had 2 fish. And Joe McElroy came by me, and his camera woman, I can't remember her name, but she turned my whole day around. She sat there and started taking pictures and saw me miss 1 fish. And she said, I'm just going to leave you alone. Good luck. I hope you
was it his wife, Miss T, or did he hire a new camera?
No, it was another girl. I think it was his farm manager.
Buddy, Joe got it figured out, man.
Yeah, he does. He does.
Papa Joe got an entourage over there.
I guess, man. He's rolling deep out there. That's why he has that trailer with 7 kayaks on it all the time, I guess.
Camera kayaks.
To show up.
Yeah, that's the next step. We all have 7 kayaks to have our camera people on. That's how we level up in this thing.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Did you try punching it all?
She followed him around the whole day.
Did you try punching it all?
I did a little bit, and I caught one little 12-inch fish, and I said, like, you're supposed to catch giants punching, and I catch this little thing. The weight was bigger than the fish.
My buddy finished second down there in a bass boat tournament this weekend punching. He's like, I never took the big rod out of my hands. He's like, everybody was out live scoping and drop shotting and all kinds of craziness. He's like, I just kept the big stick in my hand and punched it all day for 2 days.
I'm a power fisherman. I like top water and chatterbaits. I just don't like sitting there punching.
I can't cover enough water punching, man. I feel like I'm not doing enough.
Yeah.
So Ethan, tell us a little bit about the consistency and how you maintained it for 2 days, because you weren't in the lead day one. Obviously, you were in third place, and you had the 4th best limit on day 2, but that added up. You're the state champion. So consistency matters in these 2 and 3 day events. So what was the key to you being consistent over those 2 days?
I really think keeping a topwater rod in your hand was my success. I've always caught giant fish on poppers, but it's kind of hard to fish around grass with them because of treble hooks. But I was able to keep one in my hand and just fish out the grass edges. And then once I would cover all the water with the popper, I'd turn around with a buzz toad and actually throw up in the thick stuff. And I caught a bunch of them doing that too. And I just had to keep catching fish to find that 19, 20-inch average that I was looking for.
So you went all in on topwater, period.
Yeah, I did not. On day 2, I did not put a topwater down. I had 3 rods rigged up. One with just a regular walking frog, a toad, and a popper. That's all I threw. on day 2. Day 1, I caught a few on a chatterbait, but that was about it. I kept a top water rod in my hand too.
That's awesome.
Dylan McMurray on YouTube says he's the opposite. He hates fishing topwater in tournaments because of all the missed strikes. Ryan kind of mentioned that with the frog. How do you have the mental fortitude to deal with that in a high stakes tournament like this? You know,
I'm a big supporter of G-Man, and he's always done the PMA, positive mental attitude.
Yep.
And if I miss one, I get mad, but I just go right back to checking. Like, just keep casting. And, having high quality hooks, owner, that's what I use on my treble hooks and all my other hooks. And having that helps a lot too.
Yeah, that was going to be the next question for him, Ryan. Is obviously you're on the we're sponsored by the Dugout. You're on the Dugout team, so we want to know as much as you want to give away anyway. The juice on what baits, your setup, rod, reel, line, that kind of thing. What were you doing there?
Well, on my popper setup, I was using a Storm Arashi cover pop in the bluegill color, and I changed all the hooks out. I can't remember the exact owner hooks, but it's the owner.
Do you use those stingers? I love those stingers.
Yes, that's them. That's exactly, yeah. And then I'm sponsored by Seaguar, so I used on my popper setup 30-pound smackdown braid, and then I used it on a casting rod, a 7'3", and it's an elite series. It's actually a worm and jig rod, but the tip on it's just awesome for top water. And you can actually kind of wrench them out of grass. I won second place at the Chickamauga on that exact rod and popper. So it's actually, you can't see it, but I got a display with my second place over there, and it's got it hanging on it. I've retired it.
That's awesome.
And then my frog rod is a ALX toad face with 50 pound smackdown, and I just use a ribbit toad. That's what I called them. I can't remember what the color it was.
Those rivets, they get a million strikes, man. But I don't know, man. I can't always hook up on the old rivet bite for some reason.
I found the best hook I've found. It's a VMC. No, it's a little belly weighted hook. And that's the only way I was not losing fish. If that toad was flipped over, and anytime they'd hit it, I would not get hooked up. But every time it was facing upright, they would have it.
The key to catching them on a toad, Ryan, is not to be looking at it. Don't pay attention. Look at other stuff.
Dude,
I remember
I took Steve-O on his first frog fishing trip to Guntersville, like, I don't know, 9 years ago. And Steve-O is in high gear fishing all the time anyway. And I was like, now listen, Steve, I was like, you're going to see him hit it. I was like, do not try to set the hook immediately. First fish. It just hit the feet, and son, that frog went flying, and that continued for like 2.5 more hours. I was like,
that is the hardest part about frog fishing, is waiting to do that hook set. Until you feel that weight.
There's a sweet spot too, because if you wait too long, they'll just spit the frog back out, and then it's over with anyway. So a lot of people chiming in on the frog fishing. They love-hate relationship going on there.
Amen. Yeah. Tell us about your frog setup.
Well, it's a ALX toad face again, and it's got 65 pound. And I use a Spro Poppin' Frog or the Spro Bronzeye 65, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That Bronzeye, I feel like the Bronzeye is probably the most successful frog over. Like, if you just polled, 90% of professional fishermen will, whether they tell you or not, it's going to be a Bronzeye they've got tied on. Do you boil your frogs or anything to make them soft?
Yeah. No, I don't. I just buy them out of the package and bend the hooks out just a little. Yeah. I'm not a fancy guy. I just go out, get the what everybody else uses a lot, and just keep chunking.
I've seen people, they'll boil them or they'll set them on like the dash of their truck in the sun to soften them up, just to make them a little more supple there.
Well, mine might have gotten a little bit soft since it's probably been sitting in the kayak for 3 days.
It's on that Jordan Marshall program. Just leave it laying
Yeah.
in the bottom of the kayak.
Yeah,
I love it.
You can find out
what reels do you throw?
Mostly Shimano, but my all-time favorite is a Lew's BB1. That's on that popper rod.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is about it. I can throw that thing a mile, and it has a clicker drag on it. I can't find them anymore, and that's what if I could find 10 of them, I would buy them right now.
All right, you heard it. If you got any to sell, hit Ethan up.
Yeah.
You heard it, Nation.
What's your next tournament if you don't do Rayburn? You go fishing? You got any local stuff keyed up here?
Yeah, the Tennessee State, the Cass State Championships on Tim's Ford in 2 weeks, and then I'll be at Susky. I know I'll be there. So
how's Tim's Ford gonna fish? Do you fish it a lot? You have a lot of experience with Tim's Ford?
I used to fish it a lot. I'm only 40 minutes away from it, and this time of year it's going to be rough. It's going to take 2 days, and you're familiar with it, Ryan. But how the Cass State Championship, it's 5 fish over 2 days.
Yep. So you can kind of put some strategy in play on that deal. I always try to go because the first one's an afternoon, like an afternoon session.
Yeah.
I try to get one big keeper on that first afternoon, and then I leave that second day to fill out a limit and do some culling. I think if you can get one good one on day one, you're in good shape.
See, I'm always opposite. I try to get my limit first thing, and I fish better with a limit. I'm not nervous, so I'll do a limit first thing and then cull out. And
Tim's Ford's a clear kind of rock, like a baby Dale Hollow sort of.
That's exactly what I call it. It's a miniature Dale Hollow.
Yep. You think it'll be smallmouth or largemouth there?
I think it's going to be a mixed bag. I think it's going to be mainly smallmouth with a few big largemouth kickers. I think it's going to take 2 days for a majority of people to get a limit.
Yeah.
It's not one of those lakes you can just go and catch fish.
Can you drag a Ned rig all day? Like if somebody like doing stuff like that.
Yeah. Get that Z-Man Ned rig out.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Ethan, we don't want to keep you too long. We got the native guys in the second half of the show. Congrats, man, on the state championship with bass. We hope you can capture that second championship with the cast fellas over there.
Well, thank you.
Good luck, man. Yeah. Good luck.
Appreciate the time tonight, buddy.
All right, we'll see you down the road, man.
See ya.
Ethan Jett, man. That guy is a hammer.
He's a good dude.
He's a freaking hammer. He's been winning money, doing damage at these tournaments. So you're just going to see more of him.
He's always laughing with a smile on his face. That's great.
That's a good dude right there. And we've got our next two guests been waiting. We're not going to mess around. We're going to get them right in here. All right. Hey, gentlemen, thanks for patiently waiting. I know you could kind of see and hear everything. I tried to send you a little chat to let you know we didn't forget about you. You guys were hanging in there.
Yeah, I saw it.
So we got Josh Duggar, and I don't want to mispronounce your name, man. I said it in the intro. Is it Citha? Am I saying that right?
Citha.
Citha. Dang it.
Yeah, the H is silent.
All right. Citha Mal, correct?
Yep.
All
correct.
Right. Hey, Citha's the overall winner. We got Josh, the big bass winner, came in fourth. Gentlemen, congrats, and thanks for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us.
What time is it out there? Like 3 p.m.?
6.
They're on the lunch break.
Yeah, that's noon over there.
Had to battle traffic for the last hour and a half, so glad to be here.
Where do you guys live? Either one of you. Where's home base?
Right now, I live in Bonnie Lake, Washington, and I commute up into Seattle, which is where all that traffic comes from. But
yeah, you got to run over a lot of homeless people to get home. Bad joke. Edit that out. What about you, Citha?
I'm in Kirkland, Washington. So,
Ryan, have we ever had a guest on from Washington or Oregon or anything like that?
I don't think so.
You guys are groundbreakers.
Yeah.
Love it.
A lot of people fish for like steelhead and stuff up there, right? I mean, is there a huge like bass fishing community?
Bass fishing community is probably outnumbered by the salmon steelhead guys. There's a lot of trout fisheries, the salmon steelhead, the saltwater. But there's a good group of us
So yeah, Josh.
No,
let's clear that
those are
up.
with ARs. Don't get me confused. I'm not in prison right now. That's the other Josh
Oh
Duggar.
wow.
So yeah. Little side note, Ryan. Those folks live like 10 minutes from me right here.
Oh, really?
The other Dugars, the Duggars
Okay.
over there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's bad mojo around here with those folks. But anyway, go ahead, Josh.
I don't even know where I was. I got me way off.
It's gonna
But-
get worse. Don't worry.
Right. But yeah, right now, I mean, we've got several different salmon runs going. I mean, we had them jumping around us out there on the Columbia River while we were fishing the tournament. So it's pretty crazy up here. But
So talk about the Columbia River for people like all of us that aren't familiar with it at all. Jeff and I were talking about it in the introduction of the show. It put up some big numbers, and Jeff is saying it might even rival the Susky on smallmouth quality.
they're in there. There's several pools of the Columbia River that hold a lot of trophy caliber fish. I think had we been fishing this tournament, 2 weeks later, there would have been a lot more quality, just because they're not quite into the fall transition mode.
It is like the Susky, Ryan.
Yeah, it probably fishes a lot like all those other smallmouth rivers.
How deep is the Columbia? Like, I mean, generally speaking, like what's the average depth that you're catching fish?
Average where you're catching fish is probably, I mean, I was catching fish up in 1-2 feet of water, all the way out to, I think my deepest was 35 feet.
Oh wow!
But there's pools that are several hundred feet deep.
Oh wow, yeah, that's
Whoa.
different. That's
Yeah,
different.
Susky's like 4 feet deep in the deepest.
Get out there too far, you'll start getting into the sturgeon and all that stuff. So
Yeah, that'd be a hell of a good time on tournament day trying to find a sturgeon in.
Yeah, I've seen that river show up on some list of top places to fish. The Bassmaster, it's been on the Bassmaster list a few times, I think, but you never really, us Southern guys, we don't think about the Columbia much when we're talking about fisheries, especially smallmouth fisheries. So, Citha, what's your opinion on it? Have you been up there before? Is that a place you knew had them like that?
I knew they had them like that. For me, it's a love and hate relationship. I'm terrible at fishing rivers. I usually stick to the lakes around here, and I mean, I think the last 2 years was when I actually started fishing the Columbia, and all I caught was like little dinks here and there. I just didn't. I guess I wasn't going at the right time or hitting at the right spots. But I mean, after a couple of years, though, there's a lot of information out there online and fellow kayakers and whatnot, and it's not a very hard place to figure out.
That's the one good thing about river fishing, though, is like usually if you figure out what they're holding on, you can just kind of replicate that pattern, for miles if you can.
Hmm.
Did you guys float or did you use single access?
single access.
Access, yeah.
I mean, the current, especially that day, I mean, it was half a mile an hour to maybe a mile an hour and a half when they must have opened up a couple gates downriver, but it's usually pretty lax unless it's runoff season.
What was your approach, both of you, to catching your fish? What did you use? What was your technique?
So for me, I was chasing bait fish. I mean, as soon as you get there in the morning, right at light, even at the launches, there was just bait fish everywhere. So I decided to just kind of follow the bait fish. Getting up too shallow, there was just so much grass. I didn't throw top water that much. I mean, I got a couple blowups, but nothing big. And coming out of the grass, I would say from 18 to 25 feet of water, I was just noticing bait balls everywhere.
Were you scoping, or was this just on 2D?
Just on 2D.
So,
yeah.
I was going to say, what did you figure? You must have figured something out because, I mean, look at the totals there.
Inches.
Yeah, you won by 150 inches.
Smoked us.
So yeah, I mean, we're going to get to Josh's giant, but you figured something out that was magic to win by that much. So yeah.
After just watching a lot of YouTube videos and listening to a lot of, guys that just like to talk about the spaghetti screen, that's what I saw.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I mean, I was throwing, I normally don't throw a drop shot. It's like the last resort for me. I'm more of a power fisherman. So I was just seeing bait balls and just spaghetti lines everywhere. So I was like, okay, what the heck, drop down, drop shot. And I'd say about, like I said, 18 to 25 feet of water was where I was seeing all these bait balls and wouldn't even hit bottom. And I was already hooking up. And I'd get the fish up and I'd see followers. You'd see 3 or 4 followers. I mean, when you see that, you know you're onto something. And that was pre-fish for me on Thursday. So
did you
that
do
was
that?
kind
I
of-
mean, is that what you ran on tournament day? It was just drop shotting
Yep.
around bait ball? Golly.
Yeah, I didn't even mess around, and
Cut
it's
it.
so weird because normally morning throw a top water, try to get that big bite. But I was like, okay, well, I know I'm on quality fish. I'm just gonna put my head down and take as many photos as I can.
I mean, what was the what was your size average looking like on that stringer? Were you catching a
I'd
lot
say-
of like 18-inch, 17-inch fish?
More like 15 to 17. Nothing. I think my biggest was 18 3/4, and that happened to get me the 2-hour big bass for the tournament.
I was going to ask you because Dwayne has changed the layout where I can't see the actual fish size. How many fish do you think you caught? I know you probably know how many you submitted, but how many do you think you caught?
I remember looking somewhere and it said I had 24 fish accepted. So, and I think
plus the other 30.
Plus the other
had to sort through.
Yeah, there was a lot of 13 3/4. So, yeah,
That's
my
nuts.
thum.
So Jeff, it is not like the Susky. You're not
okay.
Go out
Okay,
there with a
I
drop
overstated.
shot.
I'm sorry, Ryan.
Yeah,
I just
go
saw
out
the
there
big
with
one.
a drop shot and dominate.
I saw the big one. I didn't expect the 25 feet of water drop shot to come into play.
That's crazy.
So, with that said, I guess we need to pivot over to Josh and ask where this thing was hanging out.
Whoa.
This gargantuan one.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
That was up shallow. I know enough just from my own experience and what I've heard from a lot of guys fishing the river, kind of what they do in that late summer, fall. So I was up fishing a very shallow ridge where it dropped into some backwater pool about 8 feet deep on the backside, and then it dropped off to that 15, 25, 30, and eventually making it out to the channel. So I was just power pulled down right on that ridge, throwing a spook out. And, I actually got extremely lucky on this fish because, more than just catching it, but, threw it out there and I actually spooled my reel all the way down to the knot and didn't have any backing or electrical tape or anything. Apparently I was being lazy putting line on, and so I can't even get my reel to engage for a few seconds. And it was in that pause that I hear this blow up happen. And I look out there, set the hook, try to keep tension on it as I'm trying to I'm panicking at this point, trying to get this reel to engage because it's jumping. It looks like a dang salmon out there, just tail walking, and I honestly don't know how it didn't spit the hook, but
I was going to
finally
say,
got the
and
reel
you've
to
got
engage.
treble hooks on the thing. trying to
Yeah, I did not expect to say you caught that on a spook.
Oh yeah,
I didn't
that
expect
was.
that.
We were running another tournament at the same time that was on a 5-fish, standard bag limit type, and so I knew that I had to get up in the shallows early, get on a top water or big bait bite early to try and have a chance at that one, and it just executed better than I could ever draw up.
How'd you finish in the 5-fish tournament?
I won it. Took first in that. So
what was your 5-fish bag?
95 1/4 inches.
Nice.
94 3/4 of that came in the first hour.
Wow.
So it was just lights out up shallow for me.
All on top.
No. So at 6:15, I caught that 23-incher. That was the first fish of the tournament.
6:15.
15 minutes in. It's, like I said, I couldn't write it up any better. And then about a half hour later, about 6:35, 6:40, I had another just monster blow up right at the boat. And it actually bent out 2 of the 3 prongs on my rear treble on that spook. So at that point I was like, well, I can't fish this thing anymore. So I was like, well, this is the sign, switch over to the glide bait. 5 minutes into throwing that, I catch a 20 and a quarter. And then by 7:15, I was up to 94 and 3/4 inches. And it wasn't until 10, almost 11 o'clock that I got another upgrade. And then everything else after that was just 14s, 15s.
This is like the tale of two tournaments. You got one guy
Yeah.
sitting out there with a drop shot, running through 15s and 16s, one busting 23s.
Yeah. Listen, I picked up my first swim bait ever this year and started throwing it, and I just got addicted to big baits, and I was going to live and die by that. And I could have skunked this tournament and all the same. So it was just,
That's awesome.
Mike Wimmer
got
on
lucky.
YouTube. He dropped the WTF when he saw the picture.
You should have been listening to me
Yeah.
as I'm staring at it.
Did you have a GoPro running for that shit show on your first fish?
I left the cord for wiring it up in the back of my truck because I was sleeping back there and charging my phone, and left it. So I was like, well, all right, no GoPro. You can only get better. I didn't even get good pictures. It was.
Let that be a lesson to you all. Always be recording.
I would get a replica made of that thing, though.
I didn't even get a weight. I mean, my brain just like shut off at that time. I was lucky to get the board photo, honestly. Took the photo, took a selfie, threw it away, and I was like, well, I'm going to regret this for a while.
Josh went into fight or flight in the kayak.
Citha, were you watching the leaderboard? Did you see that 23 come up in the first out? Like, I wonder, like, mentally what that does to the rest of the field when, like, oh God, this guy's on. This guy's on 23.
I put it up there just to make people start panicking. I was trying to kill spirits early.
Smart.
I actually didn't get word till around, I don't know, 9-ish or so. I have a habit of not checking the leaderboard while I'm fishing, is because usually when I check it, I just jinx myself.
Yeah.
And like I said, with the bite that I had, I was just kind of just trying to get as many fish in the boat and get as many pictures as I could, because I knew that bite. I had to know how long that bite was going to last, because when I pre-fished, I left that spot after about 20 minutes. So I just left the fish. And then funny enough, the guy that got third place was really not too far from me. He was downriver from me about maybe about 100 yards. So I was just kind of guarding the spot.
It paid off, it looks like, for both of you in two different tournaments there. But I mean, Josh, you did well in the native tournament too. But that 5-fish bag is nuts. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Is there good service up? I mean, where you guys were fishing, did you have pretty good service? So you feel like people were able to upload their fish, as they caught them?
Yeah, probably 95% of the guys should have been able to. There's a few spots where it's just not great. But
I think we had what, like 70 miles of stretch where there had multiple launches that you could fish from there.
Okay.
So you guys were able to spread out pretty good.
Yeah. I launched with I think there was 12 of us at that launch where I went out of. So
did you fish the 5-fish bag tournament as well, Citha?
Yes, I did. Yeah. So my top, I finished in 6th place. So I had a bag of 87 inches.
That's good. Y'all almost swapped. You went 1-4 in the no limit and 1-6 in the other. So you almost swapped.
Yeah. It's funny because around 11, almost noon, Josh sends me a message and he was like, hit 400. I was like, oh, am I really doing that good? I just kind of just lost count. I was just kind of in the zone. And like I said, I was trying to get as many fish in the boat as I could. And I was like, okay, well, I guess the standings are off. They go off around noon. So I guess I'll check what I got. And I think I was at 140 or not, 342-ish. Was when I looked, and I was like, okay, that's a pretty good number.
Did you not just decide to go get lunch at that point?
No, I was gunning for that 400 inches, but I came up a little bit short.
What's the record for the native big bag? I mean, for the total MLF style, do you know? Did you just dominate that as well?
No,
Citha's was the second highest winning limit, but all the top 5 out of Saginaw Bay up in Michigan outdid him.
Yeah.
So they've got a crazy fishery up there apparently.
Remember the
See
young fellow we
Marvin,
had on, right?
he
The young
posted
fellow we had on.
Yeah, I remember him. Marvin posted the link to the 5-fish bag if any of you are interested in checking that out. Did Marvin, was he the TD for this one, for the native event up there?
Yeah, he's the KFNW, so he was doing both tournaments actually.
I believe he's coming down to do the fork one too, if I understand it
He
right.
is,
Right?
yeah.
I think so. Yep.
Okay, you guys making that trip?
No.
I don't have 3 days to drive down there.
Is that a frustrating part for you guys where you are in the country? Like the big tournaments are just so far away.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think I've had
Steve-O
3 different times I've planned to go to a national event and it's just fallen through.
Yeah.
Just couldn't swing it. COVID delayed one of the KBF championships, moved it from I think the springtime down to October. And then there was a bass kayak championship out in South Carolina that I was going to go out to. Just couldn't make it happen. So
yeah, we both
it's frustrating
for that one.
Yeah.
Do y'all have a Bass Nation series up there?
We did for a year. It just didn't hold on out here, unfortunately. We're still in a very juvenile ages of kayak fishing up here. So it's a lot of growing pains. You know, we're probably.
What's your average attendance? Like, how many guys are into the bass fishing out there?
There's a lot of up and down. Our first event this year, I think we had 60 people signed up, which was pretty remarkable.
And yeah, that's just for the Washington side.
Yeah, that was just the WKBF. But I think both Washington and Oregon are usually, high 20s, 30s, and occasional 40s that actually show up. Our biggest event has been 106. That was the very first event 2 years ago. We did a combined WKBF, IKBF, and OKBF, where the Columbia River kind of borders all 3 states.
That's big. See,
is it mainly the Columbia River that you have to hold these tournaments, or are there other, good lakes or anything around there too?
There's several. We've got Potholes Reservoir, which is where we actually did the native last year. The numbers kind of hurt on that one because the temperatures were 108. Some people were seeing 110. So that just was miserable. I think Citha's camera pole actually melted and was drooped into the water.
Oh yeah, I got pictures all over Facebook.
Wow.
What?
But yeah, it was crazy hot.
Yeah, I had a ram mount extension, and I was wondering why it kept going down, and it actually melted.
Whoa.
I didn't think it got that hot up there.
Hot? Yeah, I thought, I don't know, like in my tiny little brain, I just.
We got a desert up here. That's
okay.
Pretty much where we were at was in the middle of the desert, and it's
great place for a fishing tournament.
Yeah, they have to actually pump the water out of the Columbia River to feed that reservoir and all the irrigation canals and stuff. So
yeah, I apologize for this, but I'm thinking like it's like the Twilight movie. You're just up there, it's raining all the time and over. And cold.
So that's our half of the state.
Yeah.
Once you cross the Cascades, it's just horrible rain shadow.
Yeah,
There's
no shade over there. Everything's brown.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow. Okay. Interesting stuff. And it's cool to have, to learn about your region of the country. And it sounds like you're making waves up there if you're having up to 100 anglers. Colin Sutton earlier said 30 to 60 on average, which is just fantastic for local clubs. So you guys are going to do nothing but grow. That's awesome. Austin Tucker on YouTube says Josh needs to come to Florida and fish with him on the Yak. You know Austin Tucker, or is this some sort of stalker on YouTube?
Okay. No, he's an old coworker and a good friend that moved out of the Seattle area down to Florida. So I've been trying to get him to come up here, and he's trying to get me to go down there. But yeah.
So everybody we've had on, we've asked this question: what do you guys think of this format? Because it's something it's new to our sport. I know it's been in the bass boat side with MLF, but what do y'all both think of the no limit format?
You can go first, Josh.
I like that it's different. It doesn't really speak to my strengths, I would say. I'm usually not putting in 100 fish per day. It's, usually I'm trying to chase quality over quantity, and it burns me on these tournaments a lot. Just I probably could do better if I transitioned earlier, but I'm too stubborn to give up that power fishing bite in the mornings. I ran into that last year. I was trying to punch for big fish, and I could have definitely moved out and fished the ledges and found some higher quantities, but
Well, the thing
it's
is, this
definitely a
kind
lot
of
of fun to
tournament,
fish.
this kind of tournament allows for that too, though, because you can chase
Yeah.
those hourly payouts and not worry about
Yeah,
them
exactly.
overall. So
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah, I have actually gotten fourth both years. So last year I got fourth as well.
Consistency.
So
Citha, what about you? Obviously, I would have to say you like this format.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm the type of guy that likes to go out there and catch as much fish as I can. With work and all, I'm kind of limited to fishing on the weekends. So, I just love to dedicate my time to fishing as much as I can when I get out on the weekends. And, that every hour that one big bass, it can change your tournament. You can get more participation too with people that, that don't have a lot of tournament experience and whatnot.
I think that's a great way for people to cut their teeth too. Just to get in, you're not really risking much, and everybody kind of has that, opportunity at that one big bite.
Yeah, and am I right on this, Ryan? A couple of the big bass winners we've had on caught one.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That was it. They caught one, but that was big money. They caught the right one.
make it count.
Yep.
What are you guys both, I want you to answer this, your top 5 favorite presentations? Not for an MLF style tournament, but overall, if you're just going fishing, what are the 5 things you're bringing with you?
For me, I'll go first. Chatterbait for me. I've caught most of my big bass on a chatterbait. Top water. As far as top water, I love throwing a buzz bait. And
3 drop shots.
A wacky wig, I guess. It just gets bites as much as I don't want to throw it, but it's just no matter where you go around in any lake, you're always going to get a bite off of a wacky wig. And the other two, I mean, I just started throwing a jig this year, and that is a fun bite. So definitely that's one of mine. And I guess the last one would be a frog. The reason why the frog wouldn't be up higher is because I missed probably 60% of the blow-ups.
We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Josh, what about you?
I mean, obviously it depends on the conditions, but if I could control everything, the first would be throwing big swim baits or glide baits. I mean, that bite is just addicting. Second would be throwing a spook, or any sort of walking bait. For some reason, that's just my favorite. I miss a lot of frogfish. I can't get a buzz bait to work to save my life. I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but they just don't work. Maybe I just need the 3 trebles. I don't know. Then after that, either a punching setup or a flipping setup, just going after hard structure or back in the weed beds. Chatterbait has been super productive for me, especially when I'm at a lake that produces or has a lot of docks. I'll throw the jig and the chatterbait quite a bit. So yeah, I think if I had to choose, it'd be those.
Do you finesse fish at all?
Yeah, I've tried to not the last few years because that's all I did before. I didn't really bass. I bass fish, but I didn't really know what I was doing until I started getting into the tournaments. So I threw a lot of wacky Senkos or drop shot. When the Ned rig came out, I was like, well, that's not leaving. Had that thing tied on the whole time. And now I'm like, I'm trying to go the opposite spectrum and chase more of the more consistent big bite. But so
Ryan,
try not to.
We need to start taking notes on all the baits these guys talk about that they use for each, all the winners we have on. Like, what would you say the most commented on or most used one has been throughout the last couple of years when it comes to these guys winning? I know Senko's up there. I don't know how many times people have said Senko wacky rig.
Senko's up there. I think frog's up there too. Seems like we've had a lot of the big fish big fish guys catching them on frogs. I mean, we've seen the glide bait stuff, man. Even in the big 5-fish tournaments, remember Ewing went down there and wrecked them on the glide bait earlier this year in the Hobie.
Yeah, for sure. So that'd be an interesting deal. Chatterbait for sure. People are catching them on chatterbait. We've heard popper a few times. You're right, Mike. Yep. Over on YouTube, we've heard popper a few times. So yeah, good stuff. What was that? Sound like somebody flushed a toilet there for a second. I didn't know what that was.
Sound like a slider door.
Like, where you guys at? What's going on here?
We have
do things a little different around here in the Pacific Northwest,
Yeah, we got a lot of people saying it's a great format. That's what the Power Hour is for. It's fun to catch a bunch of bass. Of course, Marty Hughes says it's fun to catch hundreds of bass. We know, Marty. You catch thousands of bass. We got Lacey. And Lacey, is this...
That's my mom.
That's your mom? Okay, I was going to say wife, mom. Who is this?
She was begging for a better shout out than the last podcast I did. So
there you go.
She's one of our competitors. My whole family does it. My older brother, he's the other half of Duggar Fishing, and then my mom and dad both come out.
So it is the Duggar family, just a different.
Yeah. It's just only 5, not 17 or 25 or 30, whatever they're at now.
What was that, Citha?
Yeah, one thing too, she provided the lucky brownies the night before the tournament. So hey,
okay.
So if you guys are listening out there, she's got the juice.
Were they like literally
lucky
juiced?
Brownies and money fajitas?
Not quite, but
no,
should be.
They weren't juiced up brownies, just regular brownies. Okay, I got you. Ryan over on YouTube, Mike Wimmer said Sea Rig, and I had to put that up there because I'm a Carolina rig guy. So Mike, I appreciate that comment, my man.
That you are.
Yeah, I sure am. That's funny. But yeah, congrats, guys. We don't want to keep you much longer. I know both of you kind of rushed here from work. I believe at least one of you did. So you probably want to go get something to eat and relax a little bit. We appreciate you giving us the info on the fishing up in the Northwest, Columbia River, and just congrats on the wins up there.
Great job, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the invite.
Yeah. Anytime, man.
There we go. Josh Duggar and Citha Mao. Everybody. That was interesting, man. We don't talk enough about the Northwest or to those guys up there.
I know, and I mean, to me, it was crazy how both of them were kind of doing completely opposite things, and both still, successful in that tournament.
Yeah, good stuff. So with that said, you know what we got to do next round? We got to give away some stuff.
Break somebody's heart on the slow roll.
Yeah, we're gonna give away some Revos tonight. Hashtag Revo to get a chance at winning. We had a fair amount of folks watching. I know Monday Night Football is going on. My own Cleveland Browns are over there playing in Monday Night Football. I don't even know what the score is. I'll have to go check after this is over with their felon quarterback over there. Hashtag Revo. We'll give it a few minutes to build, then we'll draw a winner. See who gets slow rolled tonight.
Are you are doing fork? That's right, Jeff.
That is the plan. Yes, it is. That is the plan.
Should come back.
Let's come back. Time for the comeback.
After hearing Ethan talk about Gunnersville, I kind of want to go fish in the morning for a couple hours just to get it back in my blood.
Yeah, I'll have a firsthand experience, so I can talk about it a little bit more in depth when I come on with that setup in this tournament. I know they're going to do a good job. I'm assuming it's going to be at Lake Fork Marina, which is one of my favorite places to go. That's the very first quote big time kayak tournament I ever went to was at Lake Fork Marina, so I'm looking forward to getting back down there.
Nice. We'll have the Rayburn winner on next week. We'll see who that is. Rolando, man. Rolando was talking big on the Kayak Bass and Beers podcast we did last Thursday. He's feeling good about it. So hopefully we may have Rolando back once more.
All right. What do you say we do this drawing? We're sitting on about 56. Let's hit this thing. Here we go. Who's going to get the tick, tick, tick slow roll tonight? I saw Sista's name go by. He won't get slow rolled. Sorry, Tyler. It was you. Tyler Wells got slow rolled. Anthony Joyce, no.
Slide in the DMs for your code, and we will get you hooked up.
Yeah, it's a yes for no tonight. There you
go. He said, look, we got some trash talk on the YouTube. Said
Rolando
can hold second.
We see you. Joe, you're much more active in our show comments, so you got the KBN mojo going. Maybe you'll take it.
If that exists, yeah.
Yeah, if that exists. Only for Wesley it exists. But yeah, anything else, man? We're going to get out of here.
That's it. Let's wrap it up and go watch some football.
Boom. Here we go.
See y'all next week.